Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Before starting the video, special thank to John Juan $4.99. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 301 based on novel. So let's start. Since the last massacre, Ice Hell has detained 12,000 undying of the barbarian race, each of whom has an identification tag. Anyone who can gather 10,000 tags will be able to leave Ice Hell safely, whereas those who can't will be killed. This is what it means by massacre. There was a massacre before, and there was one powerful man of the human race left the Ice Hell in one piece. Barbarian races, uttered Luo Feng. This is your only chance to survive. Fight and take others' tags if you want to get out. And only one of you will be able to make it. Each character contained an incredible and terrific godly power, and that stress struck the surroundings continuously like a billow. Even knights couldn't subdue Luo Feng, let alone the characters left by them. How cruel this Green Knight is, Luo Feng whispered, by giving a glimpse of hope to the detainees while depriving them of all the other chances. Only one out of the 12 undying can get out, whereas all others will be killed. The strong are unreconciled to surrender to the fate, and they'll fight. That's how it came to be, one slaughter after another, full of maliciousness. And that's why there were breakdowns after constant failures, which led to suicides. The Purple Knight and the Green Knight had detained those undying who had ventured among Ice Hell stars in eternity or souls with some special skills. It was likely that all the powerful who had some solid background or were valued by their clans had been taken away by the superior races, whereas those who were detained here had no connections. The clans forgot about them. The only thing they could do was to struggle. Only one will win. Luo Feng sighed in his heart. And I can't even know for sure that the one who got out actually survived or was killed by the Purple Knight the moment he stepped outside. Ice Hell couldn't detain the real geniuses like Kudai, Luo Feng, Seven Blade Emperor, and Lifefall Emperor, who were especially valued by their own clans and had emergency help. The supreme creatures of the clans, like the masters of the universe, would come pick them up. The Purple Knight and the Green Knight didn't have the guts to disobey the masters of the universe. Master Mountain Sitting Guest, Luo Feng murmured, "It's not typical of you to give me such a dangerous but useless task to steal the black metal from here. Ice Hell is what you want me to experience. You want to let me feel the struggles of the powerful? You want to make clear to me the fundamental rule of the universe, the law of the jungle?" Luo Feng continued muttering to himself. Luo Feng stood in front of the ice tablet silently. On the snowfield 70,000 kilometers away from Luo Feng, following a noise that sounded like kai, 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 a transparent leaf gradually appeared from within the snow, facing the direction of Luo Feng. Human. It's human. The only human in Ice Hell. He must have the machine to connect to the virtual universe, possibly an anonymous connector. The powerful one deep in the snow was thrilled because the previous soul-swallowing beast was reluctant to fight Luo Feng, while the dead powerful one of the Ka2 clan wanted nothing but death. Anonymous account. The virtual universe. The virtual universe that belongs to a human. The powerful one deep in the snow couldn't suppress his desire. It was too lonely for him to stay in Ice Hell while the anonymous connector used by humans could be used by them as well. To the powerful ones in Ice Hell, it was definitely a treasure worth fighting for, as it could placate their loneliness. Kill him. I want to connect to the virtual universe. A blurry, transparent figure 80 meters tall suddenly jumped out of the snow. Following his teleportation, it vanished in the air. Luo Feng was still standing in front of the enormous ice tablet when a strange, 80-meter-tall creature resembling a 30-story skyscraper suddenly appeared behind him. It was covered with leaves, which were transparent like glass. Its thick vines held a long, black chain. With a call that sounded like huololo, the black chain came winding toward Luo Feng like a fiercely dancing snake. Luo Feng opened his wings, leaving a locus with twists, and flew behind the creature. The chain fell to the snowfield instead of winding around Luo Feng. The land trembled with chasms, but the ice tablet remained intact. Human. The transparent creature roared. It's useless to run. No matter how fast you are. The black chain reached its speed limit with a halo around it. At the time, Luo Feng saw nothing but countless illusions of the chain. At this point, Luo Feng could but admit that when the opposite side was giving its best, his flight and arm speeds were, indeed, relatively slower. 6 black balls with fuzzy purple halos appeared around Luo Feng's palms. He threw them out randomly. Howl. The lore engravings on the 6 black balls became a plethora of golden threads, triggering the universe origin lore all at once. Suddenly, a phantom of a several hundred-meter-long beast god appeared in the sky, storming toward the transparent creature with its attacking claw. The creature wasn't careless, and it controlled its chain to defend against the beast. The claw of the beast god whacked the black chain away. The chain fell onto the snowfield afar, cracking the whole field, and the chain slipped into the depths of the field. Howl! The beast god was bellowing, beating the creature's body with its claw directly. The transparent creature vanished and dodged the attack. It reappeared behind Luo Feng and tried to grab him with its thick arm under the leaves. Space lock. Luo Feng turned on the arm of locking sky on his armor, after which the fluctuations in the space stopped suddenly. The characters of the aboriginals living on Yangji land were looming in the air, and at the same time, Luo Feng vibrated his wings and pulled a move from Moon Policy. His wings cut like blades. The transparent creature felt its arm being slashed by a bizarre strength. A transparent arm fell onto the snow from the sky. Die? Luo Feng looked at the creature from afar, and the beast god was marching toward it, roaring. The living being brayed and tried to escape by going underground. Meanwhile, it waved its chain to stop the beast god. However, Luo Feng's power, with his spiritual force, could match that of the top of Emperor-level Undying, and together with the star map, even the best Emperor-level monsters were not his match, not to mention this transparent creature which just entered the apex of Emperor-level. The beast god whacked the black chain again and grabbed it with its claw. The claw thrust into its body, with the 6 balls covered with Famo venom injected inside. No, the creature screamed with great despair. It was one of the least powerful ones among the survivors in Ice Hell, but it was still extremely resistant to harm. For one, it had the power of teleportation, and it had a gigantic body. Even with his body burning rapidly, he could persist much longer than other creatures. However, half of its godly body was destroyed the moment the 6 black balls went through it. The 6 black balls turned into 6 traces of light and flew back to Luo Feng's hands, after which, they disappeared. Human, the creature said as it looked to Luo Feng. You should know that half of your body is gone, said Luo Feng, and although he said it this way, he was awed by the creature's vitality. After all, the 6 poisonous pearls could only destroy 30% of the limit emperors, where it damaged barely 50% of this more fragile peak emperor. Luo Feng looked at the transparent creature. You can only use 1/10 of your strength now, he said. And you're not even my match. It gazed at Luo Feng in the snow. Human, say whatever you want to say. I admit that I'm not your equal and you're faster than me, so there's no chance for me to escape. I'm all yours, now. But you have to understand, hardly anyone is afraid of death in Ice Hell. I'll self-destruct if I'm rendered with no choice. I just saw one that exploded, Luo Feng said, smiling faintly, so don't try to blow yourself up, as it won't pose any danger to me. However, I do have something to ask you now, and if you answer honestly, I can spare your life. Spare my life? The creature found it impossible to believe. I always keep my promises. Luo Feng landed on the ground and said, I've already given you a chance. Don't you waste it. Ask, human, it responded. What kind of creatures are you? Luo Feng asked him pointedly. I know almost every creature in the universe. He wondered how there was another species he didn't know of. If it were a special life, it would make sense. However, it didn't fight like one. I'm from the Kang Jiang clan, the creature answered, and it's one of the botanic creatures. But I met with a mishap when adventuring in the secret area of the universe, and I turned into this, after mutation. Mutation? Luo Feng was dazed. Actually, black warriors who used Blood River crystals and therefore had their genes and body shapes changed went through a process similar to mutation. Nine Dome Tome, for example, could help genes experience one great leap after another. But comparatively, it was more refined, so it didn't leave any visible change on the outside. I'll ask you again, Luo Feng said. Why did you come and try to kill me without knowing you'd succeed? Human, the creature of the Kang Jiang clan answered with a deep voice. You should know that although most of the creatures trapped in Ice Hell have a strong desire for survival, they've lost their prudence after being here for such a long time. To some extent, they might lust for death. That's why they'll fight the strangers without knowing their power. Because there's no downside to it. Don't compare the circumstances of the outside world to those of Ice Hell. There are extremely powerful creatures in Ice Hell, and some of them are special. All of them are able to survive the infinite time. Peak emperors like me don't even stand a chance, and we're struggling because we don't want to give in. The creature looked at Luo Feng. As for me, it continued, I came to kill you because I want that anonymous scanner. I want to sense the virtual universe. I want to feel the world outside. Scanner? Luo Feng was bewildered. Loneliness, the creature said, staring at Luo Feng. Grappling between life and death for countless eras with no end in sight. Can you even imagine how luxurious it is to enter the virtual universe? Luo Feng nodded after hearing what it said. He could understand how much those powerful ones who were detained for countless eras wanted to enter the virtual universe, as he saw and reunited with his family when he was adventuring in the universe. The virtual universe made Luo Feng feel as if it were reality, and he believed that those detained here had the same desire. Do you have an anonymous sensor? The creature of Kang Jiang clan suddenly asked. Luo Feng was stupefied. I'll do anything for you if you let me enter the virtual universe and get in touch with the outside, the creature continued. I don't have one, Luo Feng said, shaking his head. The creature was left in despair. Luo Feng didn't show any empathy because he knew that nobody could ever know that he had the sensor. If they did, he would become the common enemy to everyone in Ice Hell. And those powerful ones would conspire to attack him. Luo Feng was not that stupid. Let me ask you one more thing. Luo Feng looked at the giant creature in front of him. Do you all believe that you can make your way out if you get 10,000 tags? I do. Of course, I do. The creature looked more vital. The Green Knight said it long before, in public, that he would not play us. And anyway, we have no choice but to trust him. Luo Feng frowned. How was Ice Hell in the past eras? How many have survived? How powerful are they? Killing. Backstabbing. Intrigue. One can do anything for that slight trace of hope. The creature gave an ear-piercing laugh. Humans. The powerful ones in Ice Hell were much more ruthless than those outside. Some are even willing to perish together. Luo Feng recalled the powerful one of the Ka2 clan and how it had blown itself up. It did have the intention of fighting Luo Feng and had wanted to perish with him. However, it couldn't even touch him and didn't even care whether or not Luo Feng was beside it when it committed suicide. As for powers, the creature went on. The potential of the powerful ones could be stimulated under extreme pressure. Since the Infinite Era, 860 powerful ones have survived. 860? Luo Feng sighed because it meant that 11,000 Undying were dead. Everyone was pushed to the edge, the creature said. And that's why those who come from a strong bloodline have an advantage. Among the 860 survivors, Peak Emperors and High-Level Emperors were the least powerful, and High-Level Emperors can do nothing but hide. As for Peak Emperors, they have the guts to fight, but they are in the bottom 800. Also, there are 50 Limit Emperors. On top of that, there are 10 who are almost as powerful as Invincible Emperors and 5 who are, indeed, Invincible Emperors. Let me show you something. It waved its enormous arm, after which, a huge ice tablet fell from the sky. Luo Feng took a look. It was 10-meter-tall ice tablet on which were thickly dotted demon race characters. This is the ranking of the powerful ones in Ice Hell. The Kang Jiang creature groaned. It was too lonely and dull to stay in Ice Hell, and it was impossible to practice at ease because you can be attacked at any time. During the infinite amount of time spent here, the ranking is one of the few things that pique our interest. One of the Invincible Emperors, Skywolf, ranked everyone according to their strengths. How is it possible to rank everyone? Luo Feng said, scowling. When two are equal, it's difficult to tell which one will prevail in a fight. Of course, we know, said the creature. However, the ranking by Skywolf is credible, and it's based on all the combat that has taken place in Ice Hell. Although they are hopeless, getting into the top 100 or top 50 is an improvement for them. Don't you think it's pathetic? We're so lonesome that we're fixated on the ranking. The creature laughed with its body trembling. Luo Feng looked at the ranking on the tablet. It is good of you to defeat me, the creature continued. However, those terrifically powerful ones are very strong. Neither the 5 Invincible Emperors nor the 10 that come close are easy to deal with. And you, as a newcomer, will surely be subjected to one sneak attack after another. Unless you can defeat the Limit Emperors and prove yourself, you will endure it forever. Luo Feng nodded. Go, he said. You're really letting me go? The creature couldn't help asking. Luo Feng looked at him. I'll change my mind if you don't. I'll give you a suggestion, human, said the creature. Don't have any form of kindness here, or you'll only end up with misery. The creature's voice echoed in the sky while he escaped using teleportation. Luo Feng had already undone the space. Luo Feng looked at the tablet on the ground and remembered everything on it with a glance. He then put it into the world ring. As for the advice from the creature, he didn't take it to heart. The powerful didn't change their personalities just because of a line from others. Creature of Ka2 clan, ranked 732, Luo Feng mumbled. Creature of Kang Jiang clan, ranked 611. Soul-swallowing beast, ranked 102. He realized that the creatures of the Ka2 clan and the Kang Jiang clan, whom he had defeated, were ranked at the bottom, whereas the soul-swallowing beast was ranked high because of its gift. Luo Feng had a clear picture of Ice Hell by reading the passage on the tablet. In the center of Ice Hell was Ice Sea. There were 5 districts in Ice Hell: Ice Sea, Eastern Ice Hell, Western Ice Hell, Northern Ice Hell, and Southern Ice Hell. The 5 invincible emperors had their own manners and would fight each other only under uncommon circumstances. 3 of the invincible emperors are special creatures, Luo Feng muttered to himself. One of the remaining 2 is from the Sea Iron clan, the other is this Sky Wolf from the Royal Demon race. The Golden Horned beasts were 10 times stronger than humans. The bodies of human peak emperors were 100,000 times more forceful than those of sector lords, whereas the bodies of the beast were 1,000,000 times more forceful. Nevertheless, the weakest special creatures could match the level of Golden Horned beasts, not to mention the ones in Ice Hell. The weakest special species was 60 times as forceful than human beings, and the strongest was 200 times as forceful. Putting aside other amplitude scrolls, the strongest one out of the 3 peak emperors was 20 million times more forceful than sector lords. How unbelievable! The Sea Iron clan was a scarce race in the universe and was comparable to the Moshock clan. They were 10 times more forceful than humans. Sky Wolf, on the other hand, was the least gifted one and was 6 times more forceful than humans. In short, the 5 invincible emperors were highly gifted, per se, and after an infinite amount of time of torture, every one of them had tremendous powers. 3 special creatures survived Ice Hell, and all of them became invincible. Luo Feng sighed. Special creatures are indeed almighty. The constitution of human bodies is comparatively weaker, and it was more difficult for them to reach the invincible level. Luo Feng gradually realized the disadvantages facing the human races in the universe. Humans were barely mediocre when it came to body constitution. However, a few of the supreme beings that could shake the whole universe came from the human race. Luo Feng built an underground residence in the snow beside the ice sea. He was practicing there temporarily. According to the ranking on the tablet, each of the invincible emperors is as powerful as my teacher, True Yang Emperor, Luo Feng whispered. I'm not capable enough to get 10,000 tags, but it's a good thing. I'll treat it as a chance to steal myself, after which I'll defeat them one by one. Only then will I walk out of Ice Hell. As for Purple Knight, it doesn't matter whether it means to let me go or not. If it wants to toy with me, I'll summon my teacher, Burgrave of Chaos City. I'll make it lose everything. Luo Feng closed his eyes and cleared his mind. While everyone else was busy trying to get out of here, Luo Feng would treat it as a practice field. A 3-meter-high red creature covered with bony spurs marched through the snow. It wore a scarlet mask, and the 10,000 square kilometer area was engulfed in fire under the hefty law. Everywhere it touched evaporated. However, when it walked by, the water in the boiling lakes coagulated into snow under the effects of Ice Hell, as if nothing had happened. It stopped and looked down. Footprints, it said. A stranger's footsteps. The voice had echoes in its chest. There is a stranger in Ice Hell, it said. How reckless was he that he dared not to erase his footsteps? Is it confidence? It strode. The snow it passed by turned into boiling lakes, and the entire law field was under its detection. Eventually, it reached the shoreline of Ice Sea. Hong! A silver shadow jumped up into the sky. He opened his wings and floated in the air, overlooking everything beneath. The barbarian looked up at Luo Feng and smirked. That giant eye was filled with madness. Human, it bellowed. Bone Emperor, 10 of the Limit Emperors, Luo Feng said, looking down upon it with this information in his mind. Ranked 11. 5 invincible emperors and the 10 top Limit Emperors were the 15 most powerful creatures in Ice Hell. Other than those 5 invincible emperors, the 10 Limit Emperors weren't scared of anything. Human! Human, it growled, growing madder by the second. Bone Emperor. Luo Feng's voice passed over from the above. The sense of war and killing intent permeated the air. The fights during the infinite time in Ice Hell stripped away the hopes of the lowly ones like creature of Kang Jiang clan and creature of Ka2 clan, leading some to even want to commit suicide. However, creatures like soul-swallowing beast didn't have any death wishes. As for the 10 rampant emperors who basically ruled Ice Hell, each of them was fraught with ambition. Although they were still at a disadvantage compared to the 5 invincible emperors, it was possible for them to catch up and get out. Fight. They fought excessively to improve themselves. Bone Emperor was filled with hostility and gazing at Luo Feng. You didn't run away. Good for you. The 10 emperors' fame is widespread, Luo Feng said. If other creatures in Ice Hell run into you, they would indeed run away. As for me, I won't run if I'm not defeated by you. Luo Feng was floating in the air. I'll run like hell if you defeat me. You won't have a chance, by then, Bone Emperor said in a deep voice echoing in his chest. The space around it was frozen, thus neither of them could teleport. Hong. Bone Emperor vanished and rushed at Luo Feng like a beam of light. Hua. Luo Feng cried, vibrating his wings, leaving a locus with twists. At the same time, 8 black balls appeared around his hands. He threw them randomly with the lore engravings on the balls triggered. Innumerable golden threads bustled, and a beast god came into being. Bone Emperor didn't scratch anything. It turned around and looked at Luo Feng and the beast god from afar, smiling as it said, fast enough. And he's a controller. Good. How? The beast god marched toward it, roaring. Bone Emperor laughed furiously. A blurry reflection of the whip clashed with Bone Emperor's claw, creating a shockwave that tore the surroundings apart. Bone Emperor was blown away by the force, and the beast god became indistinct for a while before solidifying again. Seeing the snow turn back to its original shape, Bone Emperor looked up at Luo Feng and said, Human, now I admit that you're qualified to see my real fight form. His voice was like thunder reverberating in the air. At the same time, Bone Emperor suddenly even more unbelievable. His bone spurs contracted into his body, and his entire body was heightened. The color of its body changed from red to white. The moment it stopped transforming, it became silvery white, covered with armor made of twisted bones. This is your fighting form, Bone Emperor? Great. Luo Feng shot him a sharp look. Take this. It was the limit of will. The strong will was guiding his conscience, and the beast god became more distinct under spiritual force, marching toward Bone Emperor. However, Bone Emperor stood with confidence and only waved its right claw when the beast god's tail slashed toward it. Slice! The right claw tore the space apart, whereas the tail of the beast god retreated before whipping incessantly. Sneaky guy. Bone Emperor said as it rushed toward Luo Feng. Its claws became phantoms. There was a pair of gloves on its claws, and that pair was the only treasure it had. If there was anything different between the powerful ones from inside Ice Hell and those from the outside, the number of their treasures was a clear indicator. Like Bone Emperor, it could get several treasures given its status. However, it only got one here. Nevertheless, after the struggle between life and death and the countless pressures, Bone Emperor was able to make the best use of the gloves. Although it had only one treasure, it could wield the power that resembled that of the several treasures combined owned by the powerful ones outside. Peng! 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 Bone Emperor faced the beast god, and its claws became countless phantoms, making attacks continuously. The tail of the beast god was finally cracked, and the 8 black balls were destroyed. How mighty! Luo Feng muttered. He was stupefied by how Bone Emperor had dashed and destroyed the beast god in its fight form. The power of Bone Emperor was at Haiti Emperor level, and this form of madness was even more terrifying. Die, human! Bone Emperor flew directly at Luo Feng the moment it defeated the beast god. Luo Feng shook his wings and escaped. Bone Emperor, I admire your power, said Luo Feng. I'm not your match, and therefore, I'll take off now. I'll fight you next time. Luo Feng had already flown away by the time his voice reached Bone Emperor. It stopped halfway and growled, seeing how fast Luo Feng was. It looked at Luo Feng's silhouette from afar. This human being is indeed extremely fast, it said. Faster than the 5 invincible emperors. It seems there will be another superpower in Ice Hell. Even though Bone Emperor had barely fought with Luo Feng, it could immediately tell Luo Feng's power. He was a little stronger than average emperors, while he had the fastest teleportation speed in Ice Hell. Such a human being could certainly pose a threat to the 10 most powerful limit emperors. There's going to be more fun, said Bone Emperor. More fun in Ice Hell. Bone Emperor was pleased. It didn't care for the dull time spent in Ice Hell, and it wanted some creatures with special power here to spice things up. After fleeing from the space range, Jihon Emperor appeared deep in the snow and teleported Luophone to Eastern Ice Hell. It built an underground residence deep in the snow. I underestimated the creatures in Ice Hell. Luophone recalled the battle with wine in his hand. I thought those creatures weren't that powerful when detained in a place where they had only gradually grown stronger. I thought they didn't have treasures, and even if they did, that only the most powerful ones would have 1 or 2. But I was wrong. The power of 1 treasure can match that of 10 if it's properly used, Luophone thought. The powerful could only concentrate on one of the treasures they had in a combat. Also, the powerful ones in Ice Hell are different from those outside. They had more pressure and were pressed more harshly, which forced them to improve themselves no matter what. If they could acquire a single treasure, they would study it thoroughly and make the best use of it. Luophone kept contemplating. Although the powerful outside will also study their treasures, they won't put up so much effort. Bone Emperor. Its body constitution barely enters the threshold of average emperor. However, it has a treasure that is the perfect match for its claws. The movement of its claws and body perfectly coordinate with each other. Luophone believed it was the secret move invented by Bone Emperor because it was impossible to reach such a level by studying others. Luophone nodded his head while contemplating. The powerful in Ice Hell concentrated more on themselves and were more capable of wielding the power of treasures. The powerful outside had more treasures and moves. This was the key difference between them. I was wrong, said Luophone. Ever since I created the first move of Moon Policy and left Chaos City, I haven't studied any secret moves. Luophone sighed. Not until today do I realize how important it is to have a series of secret moves that correspond to the treasure. My treasure, the star map, is mighty, and I need to come up with a series of secret moves to better utilize it. Moon Policy was the law of Blade, which was the combat method of Sha Wu Wing. After all, the golden horned beast that Luophone owned did close combat, and Sha Wu Wing couldn't be wasted. Hence, he must keep up designing Moon Policy. However, Luophone needed another set of secret moves that were fit for a spiritual force leader. Let's begin, Luophone muttered. Treasures, genes, amplitude, and secret moves. Some of them focus on the outer body and some on the inner. I don't need to train the outer body now because I can't gain any process in a short time, so I'll train my inner capabilities. The star map can only be better utilized if I can come up with secret moves. The star map was the most suitable treasure for Luophone. Although the Tower Pearl, the star map, and Sha Wu Wing were all invaluable treasures, they had different uses. Sha Wu Wing was used to escape, where the Tower Pearl was for soul stabilization. As for the star map, it was used for attack. Sha Wu Wing couldn't help much if Luophone wanted to increase his combat capabilities. However, the star map could wield tremendous power if it was fully utilized. Precious few of the invincible emperors had treasures for attack. Luophone began his practice deep in the snow and connected to the virtual universe. He experimented in the virtual universe with his new moves over and over again. He didn't need to simulate the star map, all he needed to do was get a weapon with spiritual force that was in the same class. He paid attention to spiritual force weapons now. The Master of Chaos City had doubts, even while providing one competitor after another for Luophone. Luophone had been using blades before. However, the Master of Chaos City didn't criticize Luophone because he knew that Luophone would only learn a lesson after suffering losses. What he didn't know was that Luophone was most suitable for spiritual force weapons, and would be even more so when he became an Undying. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.